I'm Wrecker Rick, and you're watching Murphy's Diesel, and we're in Wilcox, Arizona, folks.
What if one of the toughest recovery drivers on the internet was hiding something in plain sight? Every time Rick Murphy, and better known as Wrecker Rick Nicalis, disappears from the spotlight, the questions explode. Fans notice the silence. Comments pile up. Theories spiral. Some say he's stepping away for good. Others think something happened behind the scenes that nobody wants to talk about. But here's the strange part, Benny Jim Sainz. For someone whose job is literally pulling people out of impossible situations, Rick has become the center of a mystery no one can fully explain. So what's really going on when the cameras stop rolling? And why does it keep happening? The first time viewers noticed it, it didn't seem like a big deal. Murphy's Diesel had gone quiet before. After all, heavy recovery isn't exactly a predictable 9-to-5 job. But this silence felt different. Days stretched into weeks, uploads slowed, and suddenly the comment section started filling with questions. Where's Rick? Did something happen? Why is nobody talking about this? Then the theories rolled in. Some viewers assumed burnout, others guessed business problems. A few even wondered if behind-the-scenes drama had surfaced. And when the internet doesn't get answers fast enough, speculation tends to write its own story. The longer the quiet lasted, the louder the rumors became. But here's what most people don't realize. The towing world operates on chaos. One massive mountain recovery can take 20 straight hours. Snowstorms don't schedule appointments. Breakdowns happen at 2 a.m. And when lives are potentially on the line, filming a YouTube video is the last thing on anyone's mind. There were also whispers that personal matters occasionally pulled Rick away from the camera, the kind of real-life priorities no creator can plan for. Nothing dramatic, nothing secretly exposed, just reality. Still, the pattern kept repeating. Rick goes quiet. The internet panics, and that raises a bigger question most viewers never stop to consider. How did a hardworking recovery driver become someone people watch closely enough to notice the moment he disappears? Because once you understand how Rick built this level of attention, the mystery starts making a lot more sense. Long before the rumors, the theories, and the internet microscope, Rick Murphy was just a guy willing to do the jobs most people wouldn't touch. No spotlight, no viral moments, just brutal hours, heavy machinery, and a reputation built one recovery at a time. Back in 2014, Rick and his wife Nikki decided to take a leap and start Murphy's Diesel. It wasn't some overnight success story with flashy investors or instant fame. It was a family-run operation fueled by risk, long nights, and the kind of pressure that either breaks you or builds something unstoppable. What began as a single operation eventually expanded into multiple locations across northern Arizona. A sign that the demand for their work was very real. But growth like that doesn't come easy. Heavy recovery is one of those industries where mistakes aren't just expensive, they can be dangerous. Every call means unpredictable terrain, massive weight, and situations that can flip from routine to life-threatening in seconds. That environment forged Rick into someone people didn't just hire, they trusted. And that trust slowly turned into something bigger. Word spread. Drivers talked. Locals started recognizing the trucks. Then the camera showed up, not as a gimmick, but as a way to capture what most people never get to see. The raw, high-stakes world of extreme towing. Before long, Rick wasn't just known in Arizona. He was becoming a name people searched for. And once that kind of visibility hits, everything changes, because attention doesn't just bring fans, it brings scrutiny. Most towing companies stay invisible. You only think about them when you're stranded on the side of the road, hoping someone shows up fast. But Rick Murphy flipped that idea on its head, by showing people a world they rarely get to witness. It started with raw recovery footage. No overproduced drama, no fake tension, just massive trucks clawing through mud, snow, and terrain that looked almost impossible to survive, let alone drive through. Viewers weren't just watching vehicles get pulled out, they were watching high-risk decisions unfold in real time, and that authenticity hooked people. Instead of chasing trends, Rick leaned into the unpredictability of the job. One video might show a semi dangling at the edge of a mountain pass. Another could capture a midnight rescue during brutal winter conditions. Every upload carried that same question. How are they even going to pull this off? But what really separated Rick from countless other automotive channels was the tone behind the work. There was a clear sense that this wasn't just about business. It was about showing up when people were having one of the worst days of their lives. That quiet, "we've got you" energy built serious loyalty with viewers. Soon, the audience wasn't just watching for recoveries, they were watching for Rick. And once a channel becomes personality-driven, something shifts. People stop seeing it as content and start seeing it as connection, which explains why the moment uploads slowed down. Viewers didn't just scroll past, they started worrying. Because when someone you trust suddenly goes quiet, it never feels random. It feels like the calm before something bigger. Then came the storm that completely changed how people saw Rick Murphy. When a brutal winter system slammed into northern Arizona, highways turned into parking lots of frozen metal. Visibility dropped, roads iced over, and before long, dozens of drivers were trapped with nowhere to go. Some had been sitting for hours. Fuel was running low, temperatures kept falling. It was the kind of situation that can escalate fast, and everyone knew it. While most people were being told to stay off the roads, Rick was heading straight into the chaos. For nearly 2 straight days, his crew worked through the storm, navigating conditions that most drivers wouldn't dare attempt. Reports later described how he helped rescue dozens of stranded motorists, at one point pulling roughly 30 people to safety in about 40 exhausting hours. No spotlight, no dramatic announcement, just non-stop recovery work, while the rest of the state watched the weather get worse. Stories like that travel quickly. Suddenly, Rick wasn't just known as a skilled operator. He was being talked about like a lifeline when things go bad, the kind of person you hope is nearby when everything falls apart. But moments like this come with an unexpected side effect. They raise the stakes. Once people see you step up during a crisis, their expectations shift overnight. You're no longer just running a business. You're the guy who shows up when others can't. And that level of pressure, it changes how audiences watch you. Because after witnessing something that intense, viewers didn't just respect Rick more. They started paying closer attention to every move he made, and every moment he didn't. Just when it seemed like Rick Murphy had already pushed heavy recovery to its limits, he set his sights on something that sounded almost unreal. Building what many described as one of the largest off-road wreckers ever attempted. Not just bigger for the sake of attention, but stronger, tougher, and capable of reaching places traditional tow trucks simply couldn't survive. In the recovery world, bigger isn't about ego, it's about capability. When a fully loaded semi slides off a remote mountain road or sinks deep into snowpack, standard equipment can become useless fast. Rick appeared to understand that the future of extreme towing would demand machines that could go farther and lift more without hesitation. So the build began. Massive tires, reinforced components, engineering choices designed for punishment, not comfort. Every detail signaled one thing. This wasn't a showpiece truck meant to sit pretty on camera. It was built for the kind of calls other operators might turn down. Projects like this naturally sparked conversation. Some fans saw it as proof Rick was operating on another level. Others questioned how far you can push machinery before risk starts pushing back. Because in a profession already filled with danger, upgrading to something this powerful only raises the stakes. But here's what many viewers didn't immediately consider. Taking on a project this ambitious demands time, focus, and serious resources. And when attention shifts toward building the future of your operation, something else usually slows down, including uploads, which only fueled the growing curiosity. Because whenever Rick seemed locked in on something big, the silence returned, and with it, the mystery everyone kept trying to solve. By this point, the pattern was impossible to ignore. Rick goes full throttle, drops intense recoveries, takes on massive projects, and then suddenly, things go quiet. No big explanation, no dramatic send-off, just enough silence to make the internet lean forward and start guessing. And guessing is exactly what people did. Some viewers convinced themselves there had to be tension behind the scenes. Others assumed the business was expanding so fast that something must have gone sideways. A few even treated every break like a hidden message, dissecting timelines as if they were clues in a puzzle. But the reality is far less cinematic and much more human. Running a heavy recovery operation isn't content creation with a safety net. It's unpredictable, physically draining work where a single call can wipe out an entire day, or several. Add in managing a growing company, maintaining specialized equipment, and balancing family life, and it becomes clear why stepping away from the camera isn't some shocking twist. It's sometimes necessary. There have even been quiet hints over time suggesting that personal matters occasionally demanded Rick's full attention. Not scandal, not something exposed, just real life showing up the way it does for everyone. Still, once an audience gets used to constant action, any pause feels suspicious. The algorithm doesn't help either. When uploads slow, visibility dips, and suddenly it looks bigger than it really is. But here's the part nobody talks about. The mystery might not be about Rick disappearing at all. It might be about why viewers expect him not to. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never stop to consider. The mystery surrounding Rick Murphy may say less about him, and more about the way the internet watches its favorites. Somewhere along the way, viewers stopped seeing Rick as just a recovery operator and started viewing him like a constant presence in their lives. When someone shows up on your screen week after week, pulling off near impossible saves and stepping into dangerous situations without hesitation, it creates a strange sense of familiarity, almost like you know them. But that connection can quietly turn into expectation. Upload schedules become promises in the minds of viewers. Silence starts to feel personal. And when reality interrupts the flow, whether it's exhaustion, business demands, weather, or simply the need to step back, people don't always assume the obvious. Instead, they search for hidden meanings. The pressure behind that kind of attention is rarely discussed, because while the audience sees adrenaline and horsepower, they don't always see the weight that comes with being the guy everyone counts on. Not just on the road, but online too. And the higher someone climbs in visibility, the less room they seem to have to just be human. So maybe Rick was never really vanishing. Maybe he was doing what he's always done. Handling the next call, solving the next problem, focusing on the work directly in front of him. The real mystery isn't where Rick goes. It's why we assume something must be wrong when a person who lives in chaos simply takes a moment of quiet. And once you see that, the story feels very different. So, after all the speculation, the rumors, and the endless comment section theories, the Rick Murphy mystery starts to look a lot less like a secret, and a lot more like perspective. What some people see as disappearing might just be a man fully locked into a demanding, unpredictable life where cameras can't always come first. No scandal, no hidden fallout, just reality unfolding off screen. And maybe that's what makes Rick so compelling. He doesn't chase the spotlight, yet somehow it keeps finding him. Because in a world obsessed with constant visibility, the rarest thing isn't fame, it's authenticity when nobody's watching.